How's everybody doing? Mask here, and I'm excited to finally share with you guys my how to farm Ishizu for 8k or more points video. This is my Ishizu farm video. I've been hyping it up for almost a week now. But just been busy, just kind of delaying actually getting to it. But I'm gonna jump right into the deck list here with you guys. Now, before, honestly, semi-ignore the picture I have over here on the right side of the screen. It is, I don't want to hear people going, but mask, there's 3 magician circles. Why? What do you mean 3 magician circles? What do you expect me to do? I know there was a lot of kickback about the golden apples from last farm. This is my current most optimized version of this farm. Now, there are a lot of tiers that I'm going to take you through and walk you guys through right here. So this is the most optimized. I'm going to knock this back right now to the most bare bones version of this farm before we get started. So right away, obviously I don't expect any of you guys to have 3 magician circles. One is perfect, but this farm is going to revolve around 3 unhappy girls and 3 Raimis. 3 Raimis. I hope it's Raimi. The Raimis are going to be used to pull the unhappy girls out of the deck, and right out of the bat, you're going to run a deck that looks like this. You're going to have 3 unhappy girls, 3 Raimis, and 1 magician circle. That's 7 cards, and chances are you're going to get one of those 7 cards in your opening hand, and getting rid of these 2 cards puts us at 18 cards, which would allow us to make a substitute. We would take out the blue eyes, put in, oh, I'll show you. We would take out this blue eyes, put in your, I can actually never find this bloody monster every time I try to search for him. We're going to put in Meteor B Dragon, Red Eyes Black Dragon, and of course Meteor Dragon. And polymerization, because you can't use Fusion Gate versus Ishizu. This is going to be the most bare bones setup of this deck. This is going to score you. Right at or as close as you can get to 8k without glossy, without prismatic. This is the absolute poor man's version. I shouldn't say poor man. This is the cheapest version of this deck. And actually, you can sub out one of the Rokus for another Rising Energy as well. You can get away with that. The Rokus, of course, don't require the discard. They're easier to pull off. That's why I have them like it is. Now, as you're staring at this deck, also, if you have a Mirror Wall, you can sub out 2 Abyssal Designators for the Mirror Wall. You are losing consistency and risking pulling Mirror Wall as one of your last 3 to 4 cards. It's going to make it hard to be able to pull off the minus 2,000 HP and do it manageably. Ideally, as we progress and get more glossy cards, as you can see half my screen shining right now, it gives me a lot more options with this farm. As we progress and get more glossies, we can afford to take out things like this Fusion Summon. This Fusion Summon is currently in here for points and points alone. Now, as we progress, I think I actually will run this deck a la carte, just as it is, as we see right here, because this is what I'm going to call the absolute bare, cheapest setup that I have for this deck right now. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to run through with this current deck setup. Alright, I've updated the screenshot on the side, and of course, guys, this Abyssal Designator here can be, the Abyssal Designators can be replaced by any cards unconditionally playable that will lower your life points by 1,000. Prioritize Glossy. I just happen to have 3 Glossy Abyssal Designators, so I'm using them, but Find glossy cards. They help you out in the long run and make this farm easier. We're going to go ahead and jump into a farm example with the exact current deck setup. This is what I'm going to call the cheapest version of this. It's slightly less reliable than more optimized setups. And as I said, as you get more cards, as you get more glossy copies of specific cards, you're able to not have to pack so much into your farms to get 8k points. So we'll jump into the Ishizu farm. The point of this deck obviously is going to be get Unhappy Girl out as quickly as possible, get her to dominate the board, and categorize and understand all the threats Ishizu has. Ishizu has 3 spell cards, and those are all Necro Valley. She has 2 traps, both of those traps being cards that will resummon a Gravekeeper from the grave back onto the field. So if you know that, you're good. And this was great. The odds were in our favor. We ended up pulling Unhappy Girl in our opening hand, so that's good. That sets us up beautifully. And this deck, like most farming decks, is just playing the odds. It's playing the odds of how many cards can I attribute to staying alive and making it through the game. How many cards can I attribute to each individual threat the person I'm currently farming has? In Ishizu specifically here, her major threats are only 2 of her 3 tribute monsters. Those are the only big threats. She has 1 Gravekeeper's Oracle and 1 Gravekeeper's Vassal. I think it's Vassal if I remember correctly. The Gravekeeper Oracle comes down. He can have a humongous combo that's going to be able to hit lethal on your Unhappy Girl in 1 turn, and that really shuts you down. Oh, Visionary. It's not Gravekeeper's Vassal, sorry. So when she tribute summon Gravekeeper's Visionary, it's going to send 2 monsters off the field. Visionary drops down. She can then activate the trap card, bring 1 back out, and boom, both of those cards are not locked down by her Happy Girl yet, and she's more than likely going to have lethal and be able to hit you for lethal. So she has these combos that will allow her to attack into Unhappy Girl. Because your Unhappy Girl can only lock people down that have been on the board for over a turn, because you have to make it through one of your battle phases to attack them and make it through said turn. So we'll go ahead and hit that Visionary. Now, this is why Magician's Circle is so amazing in this deck. Magician's Circle completely locks down one of her 2 major tributes. She will always choose either Gravekeeper's Oracle or Gravekeeper's Visionary every time you proc Magician's Circle, and if you're able to use either of those cards in that situation, you instantly have disabled a huge threat that she has. There's only really 2 bumps in this farm. The second you get Unhappy Girl out, the only problem you can ever run into is her tribute summoning Oracle. If she tribute summons Oracle over 3 Gravekeepers, Oracle can get buffed as high as 4,300 and deplete your Unhappy Girls to 0 attack. Therefore, he will throw himself at your Unhappy Girl and one-shot her. Now, that is the reason we run Windstorm and Curse of Anubis, and in a more optimized version of the farm, where we're taking out the fusion because we no longer need it, I tend to throw in a 3rd defensive card. Because the second I get that Curse of Anubis up on the field, which I know it does turn Unhappy Girl to defense mode as well, but that's okay. You just turn her back on your next turn. And so you just check with your Unhappy Girls every turn. She's locked down 2 monsters. We'll make her lock down the 3rd. This one already has all 3 locked down, so she's good. Now, like I said, dealing with the threats, the second you get a defensive card up, if she pulls off a big combo, we just pop one of the defensive cards, make it by the battle phase, and we're laughing. Done. It's dealt with. The only threats, the absolute only threats she has are Gravekeeper's Visionary and the Oracle. And that's why the most optimized version of this deck takes out a Raimai, maybe even takes out 2 Raimais. It depends on how you want to do it, and puts in 2 more Magician Circles. Because getting to proc a Magician Circle is so key, it completely shuts down Ishizu's combo. And here is her most threatening combo she has. When she gets a humongous Oracle summon, it's going to pop all 3 of his abilities. There it is, 4k health, which also allows him to Rite of Spirit Visionary back onto the field. These are the only threatening situations because she needs to make board space. The Shaman summon never means anything. Shaman comes in, it only ever tributes over 1 monster, and will only have removed 1 of your Unhappy Girl lockdowns, and it'll never have lethal. But like I said, it's this situation right here. You need to set yourself up, having the defensive measures. Curse of Anubis is just going to say, look, everybody's in defense mode, and we're safe. And as long as the field is clogged and both of these 2 tribute summons has been performed, you are 100% safe on this farm, and you can begin to lower your life. It's not total. We haven't completely accomplished that yet, because there is still a summon that could happen. Meaning, if she didn't make that summon, she could potentially pull off a Rite of Spirit pullback. Realistically, we were probably, the second those 2 tributes are done, you're safe. This is what I consider the complete safe spot, though, right now. we now have full board lockdown and can begin proccing our Abyssal Designators. You need to know exactly when this point is and achieve it, because this allows you to avoid hand clogging, especially on this version of the farm. On this version of the farm, we've added in the Fusion Summon, which makes it much harder to hold the cards in our hand the entire game. In fact, now that the Fusion Summon is available to us, we should go ahead and do it. In fact, I am going to. There is no need to hold on to this. It isn't necessarily an end game requirement. Actually, if I hadn't already activated Polymerization, one thing I did forget is we are supposed to Tribute Summon the Red Eyes. In my optimized version of the deck, I run the Prismatic Blue Eyes because I don't need the Fusion, so I overlooked that. Step, essentially. And also, by not Tribute Summoning the Red Eyes, we didn't free up a board slot for us. We might actually run into a problem of not being able to summon our Piranha for our endgame measures now. Just different ways you can mess this deck up while farming. And of course, BlueStacks is going to grace us with some extremely unpleasant gameplay. Horrific, actually. Power usage still maxed. And I think we're back. How can I pull this off? Actually, I know I need to clear space on the board right now. So just to save this farm, we know we have full lockdown. She's never going to be able to attack. I did make the mistake of not using the Blue Eyes, but I'm going to be able to save it by sacrificing this Meteor Bee Dragon into the Oracle here. Obviously not ideal. Because we know we have Oracle and Visionary on the field, though, we will be safe for Roku targets come the end of the game. But it's always nice. I don't mind making mistakes, especially while showing you guys how the farm's supposed to work. It just goes to show you it puts it in your mind things you should try to avoid. Things you don't want to do. And if you see me make the mistakes, you will make them yourself. We only have lockdown on one character with this Unhappy Girl. We'll continue getting the whole board locked down. And like I said, at this point, that Shaman Tribute Summon was nothing to us. We had the defensive card down still. It is the only thing. So Shaman will never come down with more than it'll never break that 3k tier. So you're always safe lowering your health to 3,000 before the summon of Gravekeeper Shaman. But if you have an Unhappy Girl who is lowered to 0, you have to be careful in lowering to 2k until after the Shaman tribute has been performed. Now that every tribute, all 3 of her tribute monsters have been summoned, there is literally nothing left in this farm for her to do. The whole board's locked. She cannot manipulate her board in any way. She can't even change the position of her monsters anymore because of Unhappy Girl's effect. And this farm is in the bags. You just got to ride it out and make sure you pull your end game off. We did get stuck. We're going to miss out on the glossy points and the 400 points for a tribute summon from Red Eyes Black Dragon. We will take that into consideration when we're looking at the end game score. Something we easily could have not missed. All I had to do was summon my third Unhappy Girl and tribute over 2 of them. Tribute over the new one and one of these 2 that are both locked the whole field down. We could have got Red Eyes out, no problem. Set the trash from our hand, make room. And coming on our last turn here, obviously proc our Abyssal Designator, bring us down into the 1000s. And it's an important thing too to know when you're at that safe tier and begin lowering your life points. That's going to lock in that comeback victory as well. If your life points are lower than your enemies on the turn before your last turn, whenever that last turn might be, you'll get a comeback victory. And here we go, Secret Pass to the Treasures coming down on Piranha. Rising Energy, obviously. Pretty much, you got to basically always going to have something to discard for Rising Energy. Keep that in the back of your mind when you're managing your hand. Set cards down that you need for your end game that aren't going to clog your field up. It does take a little bit of thinking on managing the cards, especially in this unoptimized version of the deck. You do have to focus on card management a little bit. We didn't run into many problems. We even drew most of our end game conditions pretty early. And Visionary will easily pump our Piranha over 5k. And we will just hit it home. Now, problems you can run into, drawing Red Eyes Black Dragon last. Now, this is why you do not put more than 2 unhappy girls down on the field. As you saw, I never put more than 2 down. The only thing that procs in my mind saying, hey, it's time to put down our 3rd unhappy girl, is this when we draw our Blue Eyes or our Red Eyes, depending on the version of the deck you're running. When we finally draw that Red Eyes, we are ready to Tribute Summon it. At that point, we're going to put down the third unhappy girl, Tribute it the Red Eyes, and you want to Tribute your Red Eyes on your 2nd last turn, allowing you to summon the Piranha out on your last turn. But if you don't draw Red Eyes on your as your 2nd last card, you still haven't drawn him, you know he's the last card in your deck, you absolutely can summon Piranha on your 2nd last turn, and I'll give you a perfect example as to why. It is a part of the coding in the AI. You can absolutely summon Piranha and he'll be safe. The enemy will not attack you. If you have no monsters on the board and the enemy has 9,000 attack across 3 different monsters, he will not attack you when you only have 1 card left. It's just how they're programmed. They all of a sudden they turn off attack, they go defensive, and they just let you deck out. So we scored a humongous 9,300 points. There is the campaign going on right now. It's giving us a bonus of 1,000, so we do have to take that in consideration. We missed our Tribute and 100 points of Glossy from our Red Eye summon though, but we are running a substantial 1,100 points in Prismatic and Glossy in this deck. The points that come in big time with the Fusion. We get Fusion Summon, Special Summon, and like I said, I put those in to show you guys what you have to do to score big with this deck when you don't have the Glossy available to yourself. So with the Tribute, this deck I believe Tribute's 300. This deck would have been 9,600, therefore scoring 8,600 without the campaign. And out of my 1,100 points, so you guys would need 500 points worth of Glossy to pull this deck off, which really is not hard. Now, that's something you want to work towards. If you have the Glossy points, which we obviously do, that's when you start getting the options to optimize this deck. So we're going to jump back into the deck builder and take this from what I want to call the lowest common denominator. This is the easiest, quickest way to throw the deck together, and see how we can start modifying this deck to work better. And this video was starting to run a little bit long, guys, so we're going to go ahead and split it up into 2 halves. You just finished watching the budget version of my Ishizu farm deck. I'm going to go ahead and throw a link up, a box here that's going to send you to the optimized version. I hope you guys go check that out, especially if you have some of the cards you think that are going to be needed to throw that together. That deck's going to perform much better. And yeah, thanks for watching. Smash that subscribe button, guys. Hit us up on twitch.tv/MasKScarin for the live stream. Facebook and Twitter will let you know when that's running. And don't forget, stay classy.